going on today, guys? 3 a.m. stories here. I recorded 7 stories for you guys today. If you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe and enjoy the video. And if you have any suggestions, hit me up on Instagram at 3 a.m. stories. My boyfriend is a locksmith. During the 2008 recession, Las Vegas had hundreds/thousands of homes that were getting repoed or abandoned. The company he worked for would have him go and change the locks to keep people out, and usually this happened in the middle of the night to limit the possibilities of running into ex-owners of the properties. I sometimes tagged along, mostly to explore some of the ridiculously big houses that people had just left, but helped some of the time. This one house looked really totally normal from the outside. You couldn't tell any difference from any of the other cookie-cutter, plain development homes. But inside, in every room, there were those timeout dolls. If you have never seen them, they are a doll that stands against the wall with its hands up to its face. And even more creepy, usually they have no face, or they look like a kid hiding their faces or pouting after being put in a timeout. When I say they were in every room, I mean every single room, and not just one but dozens lining the walls, not laying down but standing up against every wall of the house. The house's electricity had been shut off, so all we had was flashlights. Walking into each room, it did not get any less creepy seeing doll after doll. He is already afraid of dolls, and this made it so much worse. Altogether we counted 63, but there may have been more. I am the oldest of 6 kids. One passed away as an infant. My 2 younger sisters and one of my younger brothers used to like to push their mattresses together on the floor downstairs on the weekends and watch movies/sleep. My youngest brother still slept in his crib upstairs as he was still too young to roam the house at night, as we had 2 staircases leading to the basement that he could easily fall down. One evening, as my sister and brother were about to fall asleep watching a movie, my youngest brother appeared at the bottom of the stairs. It startled them awake and confused them, as he should have been in his bedroom sleeping. They asked him what he was doing. He just smiled, then turned around and ran around the corner to the staircase. My sister followed, but when he reached the bottom of the staircase, he wasn't there. It wasn't possible. The kid had to climb stairs on all 4 still, and it took him minutes to climb them. Confused, my sister ran upstairs and asked my parents what my little brother was doing downstairs. They checked on him, and he was in bed sleeping. All 3 of my brothers and sisters cried hysterically that night because they knew what they saw, and it didn't make any sense. They still swear by it today. One night last summer, I was walking my dog in the backyard when I heard a mumbling sound coming from the gate on the side of the house. Suddenly, my dog goes crazy and barks like her life depended on it. I ran to the side of the house to find a burglar about to smash my window in. I frankly pick up my dog and shout, "What are you doing?" You would think that the guy would run off after being caught red-handed, but instead he turned to me and responded in a calm, deep voice, "My friends are almost here. You should go." I bolted inside the house and called the police. I locked all the doors and hid in the locked bathroom with my dog. After a few minutes, I hear more voices. The guy wasn't bluffing. At this point, I'm holding onto my spoiled puppy, praying that nothing happens to us. The police arrive and catch one of the guys almost immediately, but the others hopped over the wall and fled into the hills. A police car was stationed in my neighborhood for a few months after the innocent incident, and we never heard more from the bandits. I guess this can be considered creepy since nobody really expects it will happen to them. I worked in a pub in Brighton, UK. It's an old church. We had ghost hunters come in to make a video. They found nothing. The stories were always around, but no one saw anything. Then I spoke to my boss about it. He said he sees ghosts frequently. He was one for bullshit, so I didn't believe him. But he said I had no chance of seeing them until I was in the pub by myself regularly. So fast forward 6 months. It's summer, and I've gone full time, setting up the pub and I see a ghost, a woman in Victorian clothing, strolling down the stairs. A couple of days later, I see a face looking down on me from the balcony. It's strange, but I didn't even think of being afraid. My rationale being if they had to be comfortable with you being around before they show themselves, then they can't be so bad. Time travel. A friend of mine was out of his mind on a large quantity of mushrooms while in the woods, and amongst his various word salads, proclaimed that he was on the bridge and 3 of our good friends. It went largely unnoticed as one of the many ridiculous things he said. A month later, he and a few friends smoked some potent salvia extract on a bridge in a park near our campus, and he nearly fell over the railing when it hit him. When they picked him up, he was babbling about how he was back in the woods, talking to his mushroom-tripping past self from a month ago, comforting him about the bad trip. None of this surprised anyone until they realized that a month ago he had correctly named the 3 friends present with him on the bridge. Mind you, I was on acid when they returned from the bridge and explained to everyone what had happened. But yeah, time travel, totally. When my daughter was about 3 years old, I had her in bed with me. I was exhausted and wanted to go to sleep, but she was still wide awake. I figured she was safe in bed with me, so I closed my eyes, half listening to her as she chatted to me. I sprang wide awake, though, when she suddenly said, "I don't like that man." I turned over and looked to her side of the bed asking, "What man?" She pointed to an empty spot next to the bed and said, "That man there." It gave me the chills. But seeing as there was nothing I could do, I turned back over and closed my eyes. About 5 minutes later, she said, "Man's gone now." A couple of days later, my older daughter was out eating her breakfast in the family room. The 3-year-old came out and pointed to the sofa and said, "Who's that?" Her sister looked at the empty sofa and said, "Who's what?" "That man there on the sofa," was her answer. Due to some VA hospital lab mix-up, my grandfather was given some psych meds that made him say all kinds of weird things. One day he was talking to me when I wasn't there, said he could hear me talking through his bed springs. My mom tape recorded what he said. I wasn't there and didn't know what he said. He died not long after, and the tape recording was put away and forgotten. When I was a religious person, I would usually think prayers, but 3 years after my grandfather's death, I stayed the night in his old room and said my nightly prayers out loud. About a week later, I was searching through drawers in my mom's room for batteries and found the tape recording my mother had made of my grandfather. On the tape, his responses to me, speaking through the bed springs, very specifically answered questions in my prayers. I had asked 3 questions, and he gave 3 answers. At the time, I thought of it as God answering my prayers, but technically it was my grandfather answering my prayers before I had even asked. My grandfather was a good guy, but no God, and displayed no other psychic abilities. What he said could be coincidence, but I like to fancy that it's evidence that time isn't linear. Thanks for watching, guys. If you liked my video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.